everyone, and happy Super Bowl Sunday to you. This is the Sports Buzz. He is Nick Roush. I am TJ Walker. Hope that you have had a great Super Sunday, and congrats to the San Francisco 49ers on their Super Bowl championship. They did it, Nick Roush.
No, the Kansas City Chiefs did it.
We don't know who won, as a matter of fact. I do feel confident that it will be the 49ers, but we're here at Zaxby's. It's packed.
It's Groundhog Day.
It is.
It is.
And I thought I'd get dressed up because it's going to be an early spring.
It's coming soon, TJ Walker.
If he sees his shadow, it's longer winter, right? No shadow means it's springtime.
Sure.
That's what it is. So
he whispers to the
no shadow,
people,
and
get out of here, winter.
Early spring.
It is 60 degrees after all.
It's a beautiful day. I figured since spring is right around the corner, now that the groundhog said so, I would get in my spring greens, and we are going to have a fun show today, Nick Roush, despite what was not a great weekend for UK basketball.
No, it was an ugly weekend for the Wildcats. Traveled down to Auburn, played at Auburn Arena, the first time the Tigers ever hosted College game day. Kentucky was trying to get revenge from that loss in the Midwest Regional Final last year in overtime to end their season in the Elite Eight. Instead, there were a lot of whistles blown, a lot of cats were taken out of the game, and Kentucky ultimately lost 75-66.
Auburn shoots 44 free throws.
And 26 three-pointers. So it was, you either shot a three or you got fouled. There was no in between.
Yeah, nearly half of their field goal attempts were three-pointers, and they only hit 6 of their three-pointers, which they're percentage-wise, they're not a good three-point shooting team. So percentage-wise, they're actually kind of where they were. Making 6 a game is more than they normally make. And so Kentucky had to overcome that. They had to overcome a tough whistle. And on top of that, Nick, though, let's make no mistake about it, Kentucky did not play winning basketball.
No, they did not play winning basketball at all. Especially, your two best players are probably Ashton Hagans and Nick Richards. They've at least been your most consistent, steadiest. Ashton Hagans has 6 turnovers, a season high. The only time he's had more turnovers in a game was the last time he played Auburn in that Elite Eight loss. He had 7. And then Nick Richards, who the last time he didn't score in double figures, it was against Ohio State. He had 2 points in 12 minutes. He was fighting foul trouble. He finished with 4 fouls, but he played 38 minutes, TJ. He just got completely taken out of the game.
He did. And credit Auburn and Bruce Pearl. And College game day, it was College game day again. It was 3 straight nutty atmospheres for Kentucky on the road on Saturdays. Arkansas, and then Texas Tech, and then now the Auburn game. Great atmosphere for Auburn. But on College game day, Bruce Pearl detailed what he was going to do to Kentucky, and he did it to a T. Credit to Bruce Pearl. He's done an amazing job at Auburn. But he basically said, you have got to make it tough for Kentucky to get the ball into the post, because too many teams just allow them to get comfortable and then try to crash down and then try to double down. And at that point, it's too late. So what they try to do is make bigs, and in this case, Nick Richards, extend out, catch it from 15 feet away from the basket instead of 4 feet away from the basket, and you saw that, and they were hanging all over them. They were kind of doing the classic Rick Pitino defense, where you can do this all day, but they can't call it all day. They can only call it so often, because and then on Kentucky side, it seemed like they did call everything the entire game, but they kind of play a defense where we may foul you 5 straight times, but we know they may only call it 1 time, and then the other 4, either you're going to have difficulty getting the ball, or we're going to get a turnover. Nick Richards completely taken out of the game.
Well, and on top of that, when you can't get inside the post and Nick Richards, you don't have people moving around him, cutting, getting easy buckets off that. So it was just, the offense was completely out of sync for a lot of it. They went 8 minutes without scoring a bucket in the first half. 8-minute drought, an 8-minute scoring drought in the first half. Yet when Johnny Juzang hit a 3, they still kept in the game. It was very ugly early on. But Kentucky, despite all their setbacks, they were finding ways to hang around.
And this is what I ultimately like about this team, is that they didn't get blown out. They had every excuse yesterday to get blown out of the water down at Auburn. Auburn didn't play fantastic, but credit Kentucky's defense. Despite fouling all the time and being called for fouls, some of which weren't fouls, some of which were fouls, obviously, they still kind of played aggressive, and they weren't going to allow Auburn to get comfortable offensively and made them work for baskets. Now, a lot of that work came from the free throw line, where Auburn, what did they go out of 40?
40,
it was like
that
30,
I don't know.
34 out of 44 or something like that.
Samir Dowdy, who he's been one of Auburn's best players this year, he had 23 points, the most in the game. 14 of 15 from the free throw line. He only made 4 shots and he had 23 points. That's not, how do you do that?
That's tough.
That is tough to do.
That is really challenging to do. But I like this Kentucky team that they hang around. Losing, it bothers me as much as anybody, but this is a team that has flaws, and there's no doubt about it.
Well, the thing that killed me, TJ, I don't mean to step on you.
Yeah, that's twice now. One more time and see what happens.
I'm out of here.
One more time and see what happens.
But Kentucky had their chances to win in the second half, and they got open looks from three, and they only hit 1 3 in the second half. You had Nate Sestina, like, Nate, we need you to hit some shots, big guy. Quickly had a couple really open looks. Like, you can't ask for more open. Quickly had that one in transition, which coming to the forward. It's like,
you got to make them.
You got to hit them.
On the road, you got to make those shots,
Yeah.
especially when things really aren't going your way. The easy open shots, you've got to take advantage of. Kentucky didn't do that. Nate Sestina, if he's not making shots, there really isn't. In SEC play, it's tough to play him.
Right.
Now, I get when Kentucky's down, you got to keep him on the floor just because what else was working at that point? You know, at least have a shooter open, even if he's having a rough game. Quickly played well. Maxey played well. You would have liked them to be a little bit more consistent, but that was a tough game for them. Again, you had Auburn players dragging all over them over the floor. They were able to find ways to score, but literally, Nick, it was nobody else.
Nobody else.
Them.
And Ashton Hagans, we talked about the turnovers, but man, it's almost like a turnover when he makes a great play. He gets to the rim and he just doesn't finish. Just smack the glass. Do something. You're all the way there. You've done the hard work. The easy part should be putting the ball in the goal at that point. And it just doesn't happen. And to add to that, when he committed some of those turnovers, they weren't just like it's always big turnovers. It feels like there's always like a 4-point swing because of a boneheaded play he makes.
I agree. It seems like and it seems like with Ashton, when everybody started talking about he can break Tyler Ulis's single season assist record and look at the season he's having, nobody's really talking about it. Since those conversations from about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, it seems like he's been pressing a little bit too much, trying to do a little bit too much. It looks like he's trying to say, my way to the NBA, you know what, is actually being a facilitator, and I'm going to make some passes that you all wouldn't even believe. And he goes in there and he just throws it right to the other team.
He had one where he was going down the middle of the lane, and he just threw it to the other team.
Yep.
And there was nobody there.
Because he's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. There are Kentucky fans, Nick Roush, that are panicking about Ashton Hagans. There was a time yesterday, Kentucky was down 3. He, I think, picked up his 4th foul, left the game. Kentucky gets up 3, so about a 6-point swing. They bring him back in the game. Kentucky loses the lead. There's UK fans that genuinely believe Kentucky's a better team when Ashton Hagans isn't playing as much. Do you buy into that notion, or is it an overreaction?
No, that's an overreaction, and it's because of his kind of disastrous turnovers right now. But if he's going to hit kind of a stumbling block in the season, hit it now. Get all of this bad stuff out of the way. I'm not pressing the panic button because this is January on the road. You've done so well, handled adversity so well. Okay, this test, you flunked this one. Okay, move on to the next one. All right, the season is still long. You're still learning, and this is time for Ashton Hagans to grow through his struggles. And that was something that I don't think he did well in the NCAA tournament last year. It's happening now, and now's the best time for him to learn from those lessons.
We're going to hit a break, but it was a good first segment when we basically cleared out the restaurant. This is the Sports Buzz on WBNA. We'll be back.